So, what has to be one of the best looking Necron miniatures from Forge World? The Seraptek Heavy Construct. But the hell's banging out there? You know, this is the last time I'm ever going to record a video in front of these blinds, and somebody's out there banging. All hell the blinds. But what about the rules? Is it playable in 9th edition? Let's find out. It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. And if you're new to the channel and you want to learn about Necrons and more, then please subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss an upload. Okay, so today we're going to take a closer look at the Seraptek Heavy Construct. What an awesome miniature this is, and I'm very lucky that I actually own one. I purchased it when I got a bonus from work the same time that the miniature came out. What a cool miniature, but what about the rules? Now, I played the Seraptek quite a lot in 8th edition. I had a lot of fun with it. It had some issues, but of course 9th edition is here and we got new rules for the Seraptek. So has it got any better? Okay, so first of all, the points have stayed the same, 650 points. That's a big investment into your army. It is also a Lord of War, which means if you take it as an auxiliary super heavy detachment, it's going to cost you CPs and it's going to limit you on using dynasty codes and stratagems. Now, of course, you do have the option to take the super heavy detachment, 3 Lords of War, but of course that's really going to limit what you can do with your list. Now, looking at the basic stats line of this miniature, and there isn't any change with the exception of movement. So previously on its top tier it could move 16 inches. That dropped down to 12 inches and then 8 inches as it took wounds. Well, now it's 12 inches on the top stat, dropping down to 9 inches and then 6 inches as it takes wounds. So it doesn't move as fast as it used to. However, 9th edition tables have got smaller, so a 12-inch movement on the Seraptek sort of makes sense. So, just to confirm these stats, he's strength 8, toughness 8, he's got 28 wounds, he's got 6 attacks, leadership 10 and a 3+ save. The Seraptek still has its 2 gun options, the Singularity Generators and the Seraptic Obliterators. The Generators have become a blast weapon, however they've lost the ability to dish out mortal wounds. The rest of the stats have stayed the same, 36 inches, heavy 3d3, strength 8 -3 and d6 damage. There's no mortal wounds for rolling a 6 to wound, however that blast rule is going to help you if you're shooting at bigger units, and with the quantity of shots that you get from the generators, don't forget it's got 2 of these guns, well, you probably are going to be shooting at bigger units, so maybe that blast rule is going to help you, but generally, on the whole, it is a bit of a nerf for this gun, especially as you can't even shoot a blast weapon when you're in engagement range. Ugh. Now, the Seraptic Obliterator hasn't changed at all. It's still 72 inches. It's a heavy 3 shots, strength 16, -4 AP, and does a flat 6 damage. Now, if you go for the Seraptic Obliterators, you also get the transdimensional projectors, 2 of these as well. So effectively, that's 4 guns allowing you to shoot at 4 different targets. Now, the projectors have changed slightly. They're still 24 inches with heavy D6 amount of shots. They're still strength 6. However, their AP's been reduced to -2 from -3, and they only do 1 damage now as opposed to D3. Not only that, but you've also lost the ability to do mortal wounds when you roll a 6 to wound. They do pick up the blast special rule, but yeah, no mortal wounds now from these guns. So the projectors have had a bit of a downgrade, however they can shoot at a different target to the obliterators. You could shoot your projectors into larger units of infantry, taking full use of the blast weapon and D6 amount of shots. So loud. Who the hell is it? There's no one there. Like a ghost. Just banging, just because I'm making a video. So which gun is the one to go for? Well, this is tough. It's always been a tough choice actually. Personally, previously in 8th edition, I was using generators all of the time unless I knew I was coming up against lots of big titans. Those generators were still very powerful and very potent, especially with the mortal wound ability that they had, which of course has now gone. That's put a big shadow over those generators, and maybe the obliterators now are a better option. You've got the smaller guns on there as well as those bigger guns, and you're not penalised by the blast weapon rule. But of course at a 72-inch range you're probably going to be standing back and shooting these rather than getting up close and personal, which of course is what the generator's gun is probably more about. So it depends how you want to use this Seraptek. Personally, I like pushing it forward very quickly, blasting as much as I can off of the table with the guns, and then getting it into melee. But what's the melee like now? Well, once again in close combat we've got two options. We can have the Impaling Strike, which is a very powerful smaller attack. Strength 16, however this has been nerfed a little bit now. It is -3 AP and it used to be -4. It's now 5 damage as opposed to 6. Bit of an odd move, but yeah, 5 damage. Now obviously you're going to use this attack when you need that high strength. However, if you don't need that high strength, you need volume, then you could use the Reaping Sweep. The sweep is still pretty powerful. It uses your base strength, so strength 8. However, it has had some nerfs. It's now -1 AP and it used to be -2. It's now a flat 2 damage where it used to be a random D3. Potentially a 2 damage is actually better. However, you only get 2 hits now for each one of your 6 attacks, where it used to be 3. So it's gone from 18 attacks to just 12. So overall, if you look at the guns and also the close combat abilities and the movement, well, the Seraptek's just gone downhill. It has been nerfed quite heavily. However, we've still got more to look at. So it's got living metal and command protocols. But what about its invulnerable save? Now, previously in 8th edition, I think the stats were really good for it, with the exception of that invulnerable save. A 5+ invulnerable save just wasn't good enough for the points that you're paying. It just was too easy to kill. Well, still has a 5+ invulnerable save. No change there, and as I said, the points have stayed the same, which, well, it's just a shame really. I mean, it either needs a 4+ invulnerable save or the points need to be lower. The Seraptek's even been nerfed when it dies, so it no longer explodes on a 4+, it's a 5+, and there's no super explosion on a roll of a 6. Now arguably this is better, because if your Seraptek is next to your Necron units, then of course it's going to take out less when it dies. However, I think most of us are pretty savvy. When that unit gets down to just a few wounds, we start pushing it towards our enemy. We make sure that when it explodes, it's in range of our enemy, and well, we're just not going to do as much damage now. The Unstoppable Colossus rule has gone, and we've got the Titanic Rule in its place, allowing us to declare a charge on the turn that we fall back. We also can move over other units with the exception of monsters and vehicles. However, don't forget we can only move 12 inches now, and we've got quite a big footprint. It's going to be hard to move over units and stay out of engagement range, let alone moving around 9th edition tables, which are not only smaller but have a lot of terrain. Let me make sure this is right. If your army includes any Necrons detachments, excluding auxiliary support, super heavy auxiliary or fortification network detachments, you have access to stratagems shown here. So we just don't have stratagems for this Seraptek, and that's a bit of an issue. Previously I was able to use the reduce your save when you're next to an objective stratagem, which allowed me to have a 4+ invulnerable save on the unit. That's not there and we can't use it. Also, I used to take mine in Novok Dynasty sometimes, allowing me to fight twice, but again, we just don't have access to stratagems for this thing, unless you take one of the super heavy detachments, having 3 of those super heavies. So yeah, basically it's got a lot worse, and it's a big shame because the points have not reflected this. I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest with you. My Seraptek was one of my favourite models to play. I mean, I can still play it. It is still playable, but, well, it's nowhere near competitive for the points that it is. For fun, it's fine, and it will do some damage. It will cause some distraction, some attention, but it certainly is not what it once was. Or am I missing something? Because if I am, then let me know, because I will be playing my Seraptek in a battle report in the future on the channel once I can get to gaming again. So if you've got any tips, anything that I've missed, anything extra, then let me know in the comments box below. Well, it's not just for me, it's for everyone else that watches. In the meantime, here is, as I knock my Necron sign up against my blinds for the last time, here is my playlist of all of my other 9th edition Necron videos.